I see you there. I know what you're thinking. How am I supposed to fit all of the stuff that I have to do in a day into the hours in which I am supposed to be awake? The amount that we have to juggle these days on our mental load as mothers is insane. And for years now, I have been trying to figure out the best way to make sure I get everyone the clothes they need to wear on the days they need and the places they need to be and the meal planning and the food to make the meals for the meal planning, all while trying to fit in enough sleep and exercise and self-care to stay healthy and sane myself. It's a lot. And having tried almost every productivity method under the sun, I think I have finally stumbled across the one that finally does it for me as a busy working mum of 4 to organise my jumbled ADHD brain while keeping my sanity. Let me introduce you to my Organised Life Binder, my secret weapon that has totally changed the game when it comes to getting organised as a busy mum. It has completely transformed the way that I stay on top of everything. Whether you're already super organised or you're just getting started on your getting organised journey, I'm going to let you know how to put together your own Organised Life Binder using things you probably already have in your house that will help you streamline your life, organise your thoughts, give you back the control you need so that you can ultimately have more free time to enjoy your life, which, let's face it, that is what we all need, isn't it? If you're new, by the way, hi, I haven't introduced myself yet. I am Ree from mummyof4.com. Yes, I have 4 children. I work from home. I also have ADHD, and I've been on something of an organisation journey pretty much, I would say, since I found out that we were having our second child, and I realised if I didn't get my act together and get a bit more organised, I was kind of in trouble. I was not brought up to be super organised. It did not come naturally to me. I was what you might call very disorganised and lived in a very chaotic household. And then it was probably with each baby that I really thought, wow, I'm going to have to level up my game now and get a bit more organised. And then certainly as my children were diagnosed with autism and, the mental load increased, I realised I had to get more and more organised. So I created my own planners, which I have in my planner store, which I am still using at the moment because this planner of mine that I'm using at the moment will go up to the end of the year. But honestly, as much as my plans have transformed my life, I think when I'm out of this one, I might move over completely to my binder system, purely because the Organised Life Binder gives me so much flexibility. I love my planner, but there's nothing more annoying than when perhaps you don't use it for a couple of days and then you've got spare wasted pages. I don't like that. That annoys me. You don't get that with putting together your own binder because it's totally, completely flexible. You print out the pages that you need and you put them in the order in which you need them, not just me, but that you actually need them for your life. So even if you are using printables that someone else has designed for you, you are utilizing them in a way and an order that makes sense for you, which is why I absolutely love it. And it can even change day to day, week to week, season to season, depending on your needs. Honestly, I just feel like, why haven't I been doing this all along? So I'm going to share with you a few of the things you're going to need to get started. And then I'm going to show you through my Organised Life Binder, show you how you can put together your own and how you can utilize it day to day for taking control of your life, spending a few minutes each week getting organised so the rest of the week can be smooth sailing. So the first thing you're going to need is a binder. You can use any type of folder or binder depending on your colour and style preference. Bear in mind, this is going to be tailored totally for you. I'd recommend using an A4 one purely because if people give you things, if you get letters, things from the school, whatever, then they are likely to be A4, but you could always go for a smaller size and then print things out and chop them up with a guillotine and things if you wanted to. But I've started mine with an A4 folder. I've got one and I recommend you pick one the same if you like things like me to be pretty, with a section in the front that you can slide a cover in so that you can customize your own binder and just make it pretty. That being pretty doesn't help you stay organized, but for me, if something's pretty, I'm just kind of more likely to use it, which does in turn help me stay organized. You're going to need some pages to put into your binder. Now, this could be as simple as hole punched plain paper and you can just write freely on it. If If you're very artistic and crafty, perhaps you could design your own pages and beautifully arty crafted bullet journal type things. If that's your jam, you could totally do that. Or if, like me, you are not so good with the art and you just want something super simple, then you can use printables. I have got my Organised Life Binder starter pack, which are available in my planner store if you want to grab those. They're yours to download as a PDF, and you can print them out for personal use as many times as you want. So that's just one purchase, and that's, I guess, another massive benefit over buying a planner, because obviously when you filled out a planner, then you need to buy another one. But if you're getting these printables and you're building your binder, you're purchasing it once and you can print them as many times as you wish. Also, if you are in the part of the family tier and above and you're inside of my Patreon, then this starter pack is also included in your membership. So if you are in my Patreon already, make sure you do go and download the Organised Life Binder starter pack so you can build your binders. Now, some of these other bits are not essential, but I'd highly recommend getting them, or at least finding them from inside your house. You probably have them already. You're probably going to want a hole punch just to punch the pages that you are putting into the binder. You're going to want some dividers. I like this set of dividers because they are clear. They come with little stickers. You can label each tab to make each section of your binder easy to find. Now, these are definitely not essential, but I kind of like pretty stationery. So you might want to get hold of some sticky notes or post-it notes. And these could be used as tabs instead of dividers to mark up different pages, and definitely to add specific notes or additions to pages within your binder. And the other thing you might want to get yourself to jazz it up a little bit is planner stickers. I have got these. Oh, look how pretty they are. You know, you absolutely do not need these, but if you need any of the stuff that I'm using for my binder specifically, then they're all linked in the blog post that you can get to using the QR code on screen, or by going to mummyof4.com/binder. That's got all the instructions and links to everything I'm mentioning inside that blog post. The other thing you're going to need, and again, you probably have some of these of some sort, are some pens. Now, my preference would be, purely because I like to change things around and keep things reasonably neat without having to cross out and scribble out, but I really like these erasable pens. For me, I write everything in purple and then I kind of tick off and highlight and circle and things in pink. They're just my preference. I also have erasable highlighters just to make everything kind of seem pretty. Now, planning doesn't have to be all jazzed up with pretty pens and things, but for me, the more attractive it is to do, the more likely I am to actually do it. So things like pretty pens or planner stickers are just going to make me get down and actually do the organization, which will ultimately make my life easier. So you've got your binder, you've printed out your printables, you've punched them with your hole punch, you got your stickers, your pens, you're ready to get started. Let's build our binders together. I'm going to show you what I've got in my Organised Life Binder at the moment. Like I said, this is very much a guide as to the kind of things that you can put into yours, but remember, the beauty of this is that it can be personalised. The other thing you might want, actually, forgot to mention this earlier, are these Polly Pockets. Is that what they're called? That's always what I called them growing up. Now, for me, a Polly Pocket when I was growing up was one of those toys that you opened up and they had tiny little dolls inside. My girls have them now, but they've changed them. They're not quite like they were in the 90s when I had them. But Polly Pockets are also these, which are the plastic pockets. What do you call them? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, Polly Pockets are good for slotting in things like stickers. And at the back of the planner, I do have multiples of printed planning pages that I know I will need and I'm yet to use. Printing those out in advance and putting some of those at the back is super handy. But rather than starting at the back, let's start at the very beginning.
A very good place to start.
All of these specific pages that I'm showing you first, by the way, are part of the Organised Life Binder starter pack, that one printable pack with everything you need to get started inside. So we've got a year overview, a page with important dates. These pages are very much an at-a-glance summary, not a detailed what's happening in every single month of the year, but just big key events. Moving on to the monthly section, we've got monthly overview pages, plus goals and intentions for the month with how we want to move into the month. And I really feel, certainly this is something I've thought about a lot more since I've got older, and certainly since I've started business coaching, about thinking about the kind of the intention and the energy we want to take into a day, a week, or a month can make such a difference to how that month actually goes. We've got space for putting the goals for the month and a reward for what we'll do if we actually achieve our goals that month. Now, a second way you can actually print these out, which I'm actually loving, is 2 pages per sheet. And actually, I find it's almost easier to write in the pages when they are this way round. So by having 2 pages per sheet, it makes the pages kind of the same size as an actual printed planner that I would use. But you're writing without the ring binder being in the way. So whether you're left or right-handed, it is a nice, easy way to write on your pages, and it's plenty of space and saves a little bit of paper too. So this is a monthly overview plus the intentions for the month. The same pages, just printed in a different way. If we move on to weekly pages, you can see that I have got all of these printed 2 pages per page. Although when you get them in your starter pack, they will by default be 1 page per A4, so you can choose to print them out like that, and that's a really good way if you've got larger handwriting, you have vision problems, or you want to write a lot on the pages, making it work for you. But to be honest, this 2 pages per page works great for me. This is how I sit down and do my planning every week for the week, and I've been using very similar pages inside of my Organised Life and Gratitude planner for quite some time. And like I said, I think when this runs out, we're going to switch over to just doing it in the binder. I put the family members along the top, and then the main key things that are going on for each person each day. Someone has swimming, someone else has dancing lesson, maybe I've got a parents' evening meeting. Just key overview points of who is going to be where on which days. Then I move on to meal planning for the week. Now, meal planning is something that I resisted doing for so long, but ultimately, before I did meal planning, I would buy a load of food for my family and end up throwing so much of it out because we hadn't ended up using it by its use by date, and it was just really, really wasteful. So meal planning not only saves my sanity, because there is nothing more stressful than getting to 5 o'clock and wondering what are we having for dinner and what have we actually got and have we got anything for dinner, especially when everyone's getting hangry. But also it saves money because I'm not wasting as much money chucking stuff out. So now every weekend I do a very quick stock take and I look through which ingredients I've got to use, and I just jot them down in this section. Then based on the ingredients I have to use, plus where everyone's going to be at various days during the week, I put together the meal plan. So on certain days, I know that we haven't got much time, not everybody's going to be there, and those would be quicker, easier meals. Or maybe on one night, I know my husband's not going to be there that evening, so I will feed the children something my husband won't eat, and just meal plan accordingly. And then based on the things that I still need, that I don't have from the ingredients to use, that I need for the meal plan, I put together my shopping list, and that goes into my online grocery shopping app. I complete that order, and then I have a set day of the week where I get food delivered. I try and book the slots a month in advance, just so I always know I've got the slots that I need. And that way you can choose time-saving slots, money-saving slots. There's sometimes a little bit of an advantage of booking it in advance. And then you just need to make sure that you log in and change and update the grocery order before you go to bed the day before your delivery is due. Then on the next page, or set of 2 pages, this is my Eisenhower matrix, which is like a to-do list, but better. So this was put together or invented, I guess, by President Eisenhower, hence the name. We've got things that are important, not important, urgent and not urgent. So tasks that are important and need to be completed this week go in this box. I kind of think not important is perhaps the wrong word. I tend to kind of think of these things as important or not taxing things. So maybe a birthday card, for example, would be something that is urgent, has to be done this week, but goes in not important. And I'm not saying it's not important to buy someone a birthday card, but it's certainly not a taxing thing to do. It's a quick win. It's a little task that can be done quite quickly rather than a big project like filming this video. And then I take the tasks from here and I pick 3 key things I'm going to focus on each day. So maybe I've got a pack for a trip, That's one of the things that would go on to one of the days. Maybe I've got to film a video. That would be another thing that goes on to one of the days. And by only picking 3 key top priorities, I'm not saying I'll only do those things, but those are my main focuses for each day. Moving on to daily planning. So I've got these pages printed out as my start of the day intentions and my ending the day the right way. Now, technically, the end of the day you could put after the daily planning pages, which I'll get to in a second. But I kind of feel like both of these pages are more journal prompt type things. And certainly, if you want to print these pages in A4, you'll have a lot more space if you're really into journaling to fill out your thoughts. So at the start of the day, I try and think about my intentions for the day. Again, how do I want to feel? What do I want to do? Do I want to be present? Do I want to be productive? Do I want to rest? Do I want to be energetic? What are my intentions for that day? What am I grateful for today? The practice of gratitude. It's something we actually do around the table at breakfast quite a lot with the children. Just think of things we're grateful for. It really helps to elevate your mood. Honestly, if you're feeling in a bit of a funk, write yourself out a gratitude list of things that you can be grateful for, and you're going to feel so much better. Today's focus, this again kind of repeats what I picked out as the top priorities for the day. But even though they're already written out, writing them out again really helps to hone in on what I need to be focusing on and thinking about that day. I've got space to write a positive affirmation, which is just something I need to keep front of mind that day. Lately, I've been rather under the weather, so perhaps positive affirmation might be, it is okay to rest so that I can get better. That's something that I need to remember. And then a self-care plan, which things like, hydrate. Just this little reminder that perhaps we do need to be taking care of ourselves so that we can take care of other people is kind of important. And then at the end of the day, I've got space to write out my wins from the day and the things I am grateful for from today. Not all of this gets filled out every single day, but equally that doesn't matter because they are printable pages. They can be moved around. So if I miss it one day, I'm not going to be beating myself up with these plain pages. I can just move them to further along and use them another day. There is no waste. Day by day, again, these pages could be printed out in A4 if you want, but I like them in this format. I've got 30-minute increments of things that I need to do today. Now, I do use a digital calendar that is shared with my family. I've got various calendars that I use synced within my iPhone. You could use Google Calendars. I use the iCalendar within the Apple ecosystem because we're all on Apple here. And I rely heavily on that calendar system for recurring events, for putting in anything that is happening beyond today so that I can remember it. And what I do on the weekend is copy from my digital calendar into my planning pages. For you, this might be a wasted step. Maybe you don't need to physically copy the digital into the paper planner. But for me, taking those few minutes, it's like it helps to decode what I need to do and helps my brain understand what's really ahead for the day and ultimately be more prepared to tackle it in a more efficient and productive way so that I can ultimately have more free time. Because that's, for me, is what productivity is all about. It's not being more productive for the sake of being more productive. It's getting more done in less time so I can have more free time. The second page, I've got my brain dump, and this is kind of my ADHD side quest thing. This is when I'm working, it's when I have these flashes of inspiration, these ideas, and I say to myself, no, Ree, you do not need to go and redesign your website with this wonderful idea right now. You need to finish the task that you're doing, but by all means write it down in this brain dump, and then at the end of the week you can go through your brain dump notes and pick out which are really good ideas and action them next week. Having my brain dump page open when I'm working, I cannot tell you how much it has changed my life, because I don't know if this is an ADHD thing, I'm assuming it possibly is, but the urge to go and do the thing that has just popped into your head, I always thought it was just a mum life thing, but I don't know, let me know in the comments. Do you have ADHD and do you do this too? But when you suddenly remember, oh my goodness, I need to pay for this trip, or oh my goodness, I need to order that costume from Amazon for the special dressing up day that they have later this week, and suddenly you're doing other things and all these things you have to do pop into your head, well, you can get them into your to-do list for today, or if it's an idea that needs fleshing out, you can pop it in your brain dump. These pages honestly change the game and stop me switching tasks, which leads to context switching, which leads to reduced productivity, which leads to having less time because I'm spending more time doing the stuff that I should be getting done. Those are the core principles I have in the starter pack, but I've got more inside this binder and I'm going to show you now. One of the sections I've got is my Organised Mini Break Planner printed out. I do have physical copies of my Organised Mini Break Planner that you can purchase in my planner store too, which are literally the same. You can get the digital version or you can get the printed one. But actually, I find it really handy to have these printed ones, and then I can just have it all there in my binder when I need it. Or I can stick it on one of my clipboards that I use in my office and carry it around the house to whichever room I'm packing in. My organised mini break planner, if I just show you an example from a trip that we were on recently. So we had all the trip information for where we were going in the front page. The outfit planning and the packing pages are the pages that I have used mostly. So this is an example where I put the members of the family across the top, the different days. In this case, we were having to change a couple of times during the day because we were going to an event and then we're going into a theme park. And then what everyone is wearing each day. If each person has picked out what they're wearing each day, I know that I've got enough clothes for them for each day. And certainly for this event, then they had specific outfits, like Halloween outfits, because we were going to Scarefest in Alton Towers and there was a special event and it was all themed. So there were different outfits for different things. But even if you were not theming your outfits to certain days, it's good to know each person has enough things to wear each day of your trip. And you can print this out time and time again. Then I have the packing checklist where I write the members of the family across the top, and then each person can be ticked off as they have the stuff that they need. Now, another way to use this would just be the days of the week along the top. So you could be, have I got everybody's tops for Monday, everybody's tops for Tuesday? And if you prefer to use it like that, you absolutely can. And then I've got my complete packing checklist. And I can't tell you how handy this is because my very fuzzy brain, when I'm packing things, always feels like I've forgotten something. And then I have this pre-trip anxiety. I'm like, what have I forgotten? What have I forgotten? Because especially, and you'll know if you are also a mum of kids with autism, you know that if you've forgotten certain things for certain members of the family, there may be meltdowns involved and you don't want anyone to get upset on a trip. And the anxiety that comes along with that can be a lot. So when I'm thinking, what have I forgotten? What have I forgotten? I just go through my list. And if I've ticked everything off, I know I can breathe easily. Other pages I have inside my binder, I've got large printed out pages of this week's priorities and my most important tasks, because I do also pin these up on my walls in my office on clipboards so I can see them visibly too. I've also started putting together these, which are weekend reset printables. These are not yet, at the time of filming, available in my planner store. But who knows, maybe by the time you watch this, they are available inside of my planner store or my Patreon perhaps. I will leave links below. But these, if I just give you an example for our house, are things that each family member has to do on the weekend for a weekend reset. So the children have to do homework, change their beds. The middle two change their bed sheets pretty independently. Zara's 7. She needs a bit of help, but we still put it on her list. They need to make sure they've got all of their uniform for the week in their uniform sorters within their cupboards. Honestly, if you do one thing as a mum, organise clothes for the week on the weekend, it will change your flipping life, I tell you. No more running around on weekday mornings goes, where's my this, where's my that? Do it on the weekend. Future you will thank you. You're welcome. The other thing that the children are asked to do on the weekend is tidy their room. And once they've done all these things, then they get their pocket money, which I pay to them through their Monzo cards. I have a Monzo account. I just have the free one. And the children have free accounts within that. They have their own cards. It's a really great way I can manage their pocket money. And they get little messages to say what they've had pocket money for. It really helps with keeping them on task and getting them to do the basic chores. But also, I don't think I'm spending any more money because rather than just buying them stuff when we go away or when we go out shopping, they've actually got their own money and they're making much more sensible choices when spending their own money, I've got to tell you. I have got these plain printable versions of these. I will link below where you can get those once I've done that and Future Re has organised where they're going to go. Then I've got some backups of some of my other printables and checklists inside here, as well as this one. This one is from inside my Ultimate Mum bundle of printables, which are totally free when you join my email club. This is something we hope to not have to use that much, but sadly we have to use it from time to time. And this is where we record the date and time and the temperature and the medication given when the children are ill. If you've got multiple people looking after your children, or if you're sleep deprived and you struggle to remember exactly what temperature they were and what medication they had because you've been up all night and you feel a little rough yourself looking after the children who are themselves ill, I can't tell you how helpful it is to have one of these printables ready to go. You can keep them inside your binder or you can keep them where you keep your medication and your thermometers and things. And that way, when you actually get to speak to doctors, you can tell them exactly what your children's symptoms have been, how much medication they've had, and you can help take care of them better. I also have content planners in the back, which are a little bit specific to me. I mean, because I make videos and things, but I do have printables for those. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in seeing as something that you would be able to download. Don't forget, you don't have to just create your own pages or print printables to go inside your Organised Life Binder either. Any piece of paper or letter, mail, something from school that comes into the house that I have to deal with will be hole punched and popped into my Organised Life Binder before I have dealt with it, and then when I have dealt with it, it will either be shredded or photographed and stored digitally or filed away in my little filing system behind me in a more permanent way. But inside your Organised Life Binder is a really good place to store those I need to deal with this kind of pieces of paper, rather than leaving them in piles around the house, which I think we've all been guilty of doing at some point or another. Now I've got loads more that I will be adding to my personal Organised Life Binder, but really you can build onto yours with whatever suits you and your family. I've got loads of different printables inside of my planner store that you could utilize. And by the time you see this, although it's not currently available right now, my organised Christmas planner, hopefully with a cover variation as well, because I was thinking of doing this Christmassy themed one, plus maybe a pinky one and maybe a magical Disney inspired one. All of these Christmassy pages will be making their way into my Organised Life Binder to organise Christmas very, very soon. I've got loads more printables I'm developing to add to my Organised Life Binder for things from cleaning to chores, decluttering, self-care, health and fitness, all that kind of stuff. And I would just love it if we could build our binders together. So whether you have bought printables from my printable store or you're handwriting yours, I would love, love, love so much if you could let me know down in the comments if you're going to build your Organised Life Binder, what you're going to put in it. Let's start a bit of a chat and a bit of a community down below and encourage each other to stay on track with getting organised so that we can ultimately have more freedom. And I'd love to see pictures. You can tag me over on Instagram at mummyoffouruk. I love it so much when you post pictures of your planners that you bought from my planner store and you're planning away with them, either in your day-to-day life or on your Disney trips, because if you don't know, I also have a Disney channel where I share our magical trips, how we plan for them, loads of tips and tricks for being organised and making most of your trips to the Disney parks and on the Disney Cruise Line. And I just love seeing pictures of those planners, but I'm so excited to start seeing pictures of your Organised Life Binders too. Now it depends on which tier you're in as to which printables you actually get, but don't forget, if you are inside of my Patreon membership, then there are printables in there that you can download. And if you're not yet in my Patreon, you can get started for free. We can hang out a bit more and get organised together. So click on the little icon on screen now to join me over there, or go to mummyoffour.com/Patreon. Now, meal planning is something we touched on within the Organised Life Binder in this video on screen. I know is going to help you get started with that and make the most of it and make it super easy. So I'll see you guys over there. Mwah. Bye.